Hello, and welcome to another installment of Old Men Yell at Cloud. I am Christopher, and I am joined by Jim.
Hey.
And Patrick.
Hello, hello, hello.
We are in different locations once again, as basically everyone is. There's really no jokes to be made about this, so I'm not going to bother. Any jokes that people make just aren't funny. Like, and not even just in like,
I've heard some pretty funny ones.
This is serious. Like, not even from that perspective. It's not a good well of humor.
It doesn't have a very deep well of humor. Let's put it that way.
No, it's pretty shallow well.
It's pretty low-hanging fruit.
We are joined today by a special repeat guest, Mr. Clinton Degan.
Hello.
It's good to have you back.
Yeah, thanks for
Long
having
time
me.
no see.
Yeah, I haven't seen you since Dungeons and Dragons on Wednesday.
Yeah. I was also just chilling with Patrick the other day. We were doing some Jukebox Zeros.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, talking about Creed's third opus.
Magnum opus, yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, absolutely. They're magnum opus.
Their arch achievement. It's really, Chris. It's their Joshua Tree.
Okay. When you said achievement, I wanted to just butt in and say a Creedment.
For as shitty as that album is, I do have to say, I do think the song Bullets does kind of kick ass. You may all think I'm a stupid asshole.
No, I mean, I'm with you, but don't watch the music video if you don't want it to be ruined for you forever.
Yeah, that was
I've
fucking
never seen
insane.
it. No, we'll keep it that way.
So Deegan sent me an email just with a link to that video. I watched about like 10 seconds of it and just had to turn it off. I don't get motion sick, but that made me feel like a little motion sick.
Hey, Scott Phillips did nothing wrong.
Oh, I definitely won't be able to watch it then.
Yeah, I don't know, Chris. I think you need to go back, because if you don't hang in at least a couple minutes, you don't get to see the other members of Creed make their entrance, in which they're kind of like warrior barbarian mercenaries that need to help Angel Stap defeat the Matrix robots. It's...
Yeah, and he has to defeat Zorbulon the Sinister.
Yeah, exactly. And Zorbulon is not being forgiving. I mean, he already gutted Brian Marshall, the bassist.
He did.
Left his entrails hanging off of the victory tree, so...
Does Creed not believe in technology? Like, is that what's going on there? It's like God versus technology?
No, they actually strongly believe in technology. I think, in fact, like, if you just watch, like, look at all Creed artwork and music videos, it's like, they're like, we want the latest in CGI.
But we don't want to spend a lot.
Yeah. What's the best you have available for $10?
Denny, what do you got there, buddy?
Then we found out that Mark Tremonti's brother is responsible for their horrible album covers. So,
actually, I shared in our Slack chat the other day, very relevant to our recent topics of conversation, the most recent Puddle of Mud video. It's insane. So it's basically just a dumb pop punk song, like way too long. And the video looks like it was filmed with like a camcorder.
Oh, it's called Uh-Oh, and it's literally that like millennial whoop. Uh-oh. It's the hook of the fucking song.
No way.
It is.
Can we change what this whole episode is about and just review Uh-Oh by Puddle of Mud?
We're halfway there as it is. But
we can do that.
It's great because it looks like it was filmed on a camcorder. And at the very beginning, there's a weirdly long set of title cards, like announcing like what production company made the video. And then at the end of it, there's another title card, like announcing different things about different people who were behind it. But Wes Scantlin had like several relatives involved in it.
Oh yeah, there are lots of Scantlins involved.
Scantlins. Sounds like a small insect. Oh, I got scantlins all over my body.
Yeah.
You gotta get the shampoo for that.
All right, so today we are not talking about Puddle of Mud, nor anyone else.
We're doing Come Clean from
Yes.
2001.
I'm going to come clean. Today we're talking about Blur. And by Blur, I mean both the band and their self-titled album. Blur.
Oh, just like that Puddle of Mud song, Blur E.
Yes.
Oh,
wow.
It all ties back to
comes together.
Scanlan.
Thank you, Jim.
So actually,
ties
guys, if I
back
could
to
just have the floor for 1 second. The song is written in the key of E-flat minor with a moderately slow tempo of 78 beats per minute. The song follows a chord progression of C-flat, D-flat, E-flat minor, and the vocals in the song span from C-flat 4 to C-flat 7.
Do you have a citation on that?
Yeah, number 1. I don't know where it goes.
Do you have a citation on as to whether that is in fact one of the top 10 riffs of the decade?
Yeah. Okay, do we have any scholarly input on whether or not Wes Scanlon is Kurt Cobain?
I mean, they've never been photographed together.
That's absolutely accurate.
Yeah.
That is accurate.
What do you think this is like? You think this is like an Andy Kaufman situation? Is what you're saying?
That would be amazing.
Wes Scanlon was born in 1994.
Yeah.
And it's great because, like, for like that sort of individual, like Kurt Cobain's on the attractive side, whereas Wes Scantlin is very much not so. So you would have had to have like had some work, like destructive.
Well, I mean,
surgery done.
He did have a shotgun blast to his face, you know. So
So what you're positing is that he survived and then went on to become
he
Wes.
just reconstructive surgery.
Reconstructive surgery. It's a
I'm just-
before and after shot.
Yeah, I'm just imagining the scene in Batman where the Joker is like, mirror. He takes it and sees himself and just starts laughing.
You see what I have to work with here.
He just points to a book of power chord tablature. So Blur is the fifth studio album by the English rock band Blur, released on 10th of February 1997 by Food Records. Blur had previously been broadly critical of American popular culture, and their previous albums had become associated with the Britpop movement, particularly Parklife, which had helped them become one of Britain's leading pop acts. After their previous album, The Great Escape, the band faced media backlash, and relationships between the band members became strained. Under the suggestion of the band's guitarist, Graham Coxon, the band underwent a stylistic change, becoming influenced by American indie rock bands such as Pavement. Recording took place in London as well as Reykjavik. Drummer Dave Rowntree described the music on the album as being more aggressive and emotional than their previous work. Producer Stephen Street claimed that lead singer-songwriter Damon Albarn had started writing about more personal experiences, while Coxon revealed that listening to his lyrics, it was clear to him that he'd obviously gone off his head a bit more. Despite worries from Blur's label, EMI, and the music press that change in style would alienate the band's predominantly teenage fan base and that album would flop as a result, Blur, as well as lead single Beetlebum, reached the top of the UK charts and the album was certified platinum. The album also reached the top 20 in 6 other countries. The success of Song 2 led to Blur becoming the band's most successful album in the US, where the Britpop scene had largely been unsuccessful. The album received positive reviews from most music critics, many praising the stylistic change as well as Albarn's songwriting. So yeah. That's the album.
Wow.
Thanks for joining me, everyone.
We'll see you next week.
I think I've got some bad milk in my tummy.
Oh yeah, you got the bubble guts.
I went to the grocery store like 3 weeks ago, and we generally don't buy that much milk, but because of the situation, I was like, oh, I should probably stock up on milk. So I bought one of those big gallon hood light lock bottle things, and it's lasted 3 weeks, and I finished off the last of it this morning. I don't know if milk's supposed to last that long, and it didn't smell bad, but it definitely was gurgling around in my tummy this morning.
Jim, is this a metaphor for something you wanted to tell us about your experience of listening to Blur?
Yeah, see, when I listen to Blur, my stomach gurgles as well, so...
That makes sense. So one of the things that Graham Coxon said is they actually extracted a lot of the material from this album from cows. So that checks out. That checks out.
Explains the methane factor.
Yep, I'm gonna check that one off. Check.
So if you were to actually take the physical compact disc and break it down molecularly, it would be the same molecular composition as a glass of milk, is what you're saying?
That is exactly it. Graham Coxon isn't so much a guitarist or an artist. He's more of like a milk
Dairy farmer.
disc manufacturer.
And that's how Alex James got into cheese, because he wanted to be different.
That's right. I mean, well, you know, when the guitarist has like a lockdown on the whole milk
Then
industry,
the bassist goes cheese.
And the bassist goes cheese.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Once you go cheese.
Once you go cheese, that's where you steez.
Oh my God.
Excellent.
All right, so let's go around the horn and do this thing.
These are the rhymes. These are the rhymes, people.
Jim, what is your favorite song on the album Blur by the artist Blur?
I'm going to go with Milk, Milk, Lemonade, Around the Corner, Fudge is Made.
Track 15.
Yeah. The hidden track. It's the hidden track hidden within the hidden track. No, but really, I'm gonna go with I'm gonna be a fucking boring asshole and go with song 2 just because it's such a kick-ass song. It infiltrated our everyday life, and
Does kick ass.
it always just gets you really pumped up. And I was talking about how the song always reminds me of the episode of South Park where Stan is coaching the Pee Wee hockey team, and they go to play like the intermission, like during like a Colorado Avalanche game, and the Colorado Avalanche doesn't show up, so they throw them in place of the Colorado Avalanche to play the Detroit Red Wings. And Detroit Red Wings are just checking little children around the ice, and the song 2 is playing, and it's fantastic.
That actually is a great episode. An example of like one of their less political ones that are just like pure absurdity. Song 2 is it's interesting production-wise because it definitely takes a lot of cues from lo-fi, and I even read somewhere that it's kind of a parody of grunge music, which like by 1997 was pretty well saturated in the zeitgeist. So I really like the production of song 2 a lot, where there's like you get that like really crunchy rum-like drum at the beginning, and then like just this onslaught of fucking like layers of guitars and bass comes in after that.
Yeah, I mentioned it
And
during
it all
the
sounds
listen.
like really clean too somehow.
I mentioned it during the listen, but there's a great video on YouTube where Graham Coxon isolates tracks and just talks about the production of it, and it's worth your 5 minutes if you're into the production of the song. Yeah. Song 2
the
is...
credits are interesting where it says lead and rhythm basses.
For the longest time, I thought the lyric for the song was, "I got my head shaved by Ed Chemboche," but the lyric is actually, "I got my head checked by a jumbo jet." So I don't know where I got that. But,
by a jumbo jet. I never knew. I always thought he was saying trombone Chet. Like
I thought he was saying Ed
trombone
Chemboche.
Chet named Chet.
And this is my
Have
buddy,
you guys-
Oboe Bill.
You guys know Trombone
Tuba Bill,
Chet
trombone Chet.
Trombone Chet. He's friends with Ed Chemboche, right?
Good bloke,
Oh
Seb.
yeah, big players though over there in America.
Yeah.
Song
They
2
really
is,
know how to blow it.
Song 2 is the kind of song that there were a handful of songs where on Friday nights back in like 2005, 2006, me, John Green, Steve, and Vicky from the Fuzz, and like a bunch of other people would all like pregame at my place before going to the Pill. And like we were fucking idiots back then. Like we'd go to the Pill, like this dance night in Boston that used to happen that would play like a lot of Britpop, a lot of Blur actually. And we just get like blind drunk there and would like huddle around each other in a circle and just like chant like, "Yeah, we did it," or whatever the fuck we were doing. I don't know. It was really dumb. But to pregame, we had like a number of songs that we would usually spin, and song 2 is definitely up there along with like McCluskey and shit like that. It's a good pump up song.
Song 2 is interesting in that I feel like it's like you can unironically just thrash to it.
Yes.
But there definitely is this sense of self-awareness in it of like, this is not the real thing. I mean, it very much is the real thing. It just kicks total ass, but also like they know that they're poking fun at something that's not them.
Yeah, it's definitely tongue in cheek on their part.
Yeah. So it's like I always like it's like having both reactions to the song is interesting. I'm like, yeah, they made like a totally kick-ass rock song, but like also they're kind of like, yeah, they're winking at us. And,
Yeah, they're in on the joke.
yeah.
2 minutes long too. Like,
Yeah, exactly 2 minutes, and it's track 2 wherever it appears. So on this album and on their greatest hits, and I think on a live album as well, it appears as track 2.
It has that track 2 quality to it, doesn't it?
It does.
Well, yeah, it's like a lead single type thing, even though Beetlebum was the lead single for some reason. Patrick, what was your favorite song?
That was tough for me to pick because there's actually quite a few. that I kind of liked equally. This was my first time listening to this album all the way through. I'm going to go with MOR.
It's so dramatic. I need to unload under the pressure. Got middle of the road. Fall into fashion. Fall out again. We're stick together.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
The Bowie track.
Yeah, so obviously it was an intended lifting of Fantastic Voyage and Boys Come Swinging off of Bowie's Lodger. Yeah, it's off of Lodger.
Yeah.
And there was Eno flavor all over this record. I felt like, especially in his vocal delivery, and you hear that a lot on this track. And it does a bit more. It kind of like they kind of branch off and do their own like chord progressions at some point. But I thought all in all it was a very it was just like a really cool like art pop track amongst like, you know, there were quite a few others that were in contention, but I think that one kind of stuck out the most to me.
Yeah, apparently the music video for it is one of the most expensive ever made.
What?
Really?
Yeah.
More than that Michael Jackson and Janet Jackson video?
Scream? That video's so good.
There's Scream, and I think the fucking the one for the first single off of the Van Halen 3 album was like super expensive too, because it was done
the one
like,
done in the ice
fucking,
hotel.
Yeah, it was done in like some ice house somewhere.
Right.
They had to wear those cool '90s ski caps.
Which is amazing because they didn't spend any time writing the song. Spend lots of money, no time.
No, there's no time put into editing or mixing that album.
No, none whatsoever. If I can coattail on you at all, Patrick, the just like when you started pointing out the connection between Fantastic Voyage and this tune, it really got me thinking about kind of like the Coxsone Ballou connection. Like, I mean, I know he has this super like Stephen Malkmus thing all over this album, but also like very much like an Adrian Ballou kind of skronk noise, just weird approach.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they're definitely pulling a lot of influence from that particular corner of like late '70s art pop.
But Coxsone really does his own thing as well. Like, he definitely has the flavor. You can tell that he has definitely like listened to a lot of that stuff and like really absorbed it, but he's synthesizing it, I think, in his own way.
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure. And it's going through that filter of like '90s alternative as well.
Yeah, I mean, I would say for the 90s, after Johnny Greenwood, Graham Coxsone would probably be my favorite guitar player. Degan, what was your favorite song?
Man, I mean, like Patrick, this was a tough choice. There were a lot of really cool songs, but I'm gonna actually just ride that Coxsone wave and go with "You're So Great."
Sad, drunk, and poorly, sleeping really late. Sad, drunk, and poorly, not feeling so great. Wandering lost in a town full of frowns. Sad, drunk, and poorly, dogs digging up the ground.
Love that song.
So good.
It's Coxsone did this on 13 as well with Tender, where I think it's based around just like a shitty tape 4-track demo. So like the main guitar and him singing, I think, are coming off of a tape 4-track, and then they just overdubbed in a studio on top of it.
Wow.
And
Very Nebraska.
Yeah. And Tender Jim just set his background to be a chicken. A raw chicken.
Raw chicken. Raw skinned chicken ready to cook.
Well, how the fuck do I do that, Jim?
I just.
You gotta go down to the see where the video camera button is. There's a little up arrow. Go to choose virtual background, and you can add in whatever you want there. Sorry, Degan. Continue.
I was gonna say I just loved. As much as Damon Albarn is a great singer, I loved Coxon's vocal style on it, and I loved the amount of texture that they created with only guitars. I mean, it was just guitars and voice through the whole song, and they had an incredible amount of texture and like dynamic development, and it was just an awesome song overall. It was hard not to pick some of these songs that feel more like outliers on this album.
Yeah.
But also, it is very eclectic, and so in that sense, there are many of them. But as like one of the furthest, this felt like one of the furthest outliers, but I also thought it was just lovely and really stands up on its own right, and made me wonder if Coxon has like solo efforts.
Yeah, he has a ton of solo albums. He started making them while he was still in Blur initially. Did after he left Blur and has continued to since he has rejoined. He's super prolific.
Wow.
Yeah, that track is pretty cool. Where it definitely sounds like there's some process on it, but it does ultimately have that great sort of organic feel to it.
For me, I'm gonna stick with the Oregon theme of organic and go with "Death of a Party." Yeah, it's that song. When I first bought this album, I bought it without having heard anything, but basically the singles, just Beetle Bum, Song 2, and I think that might have been 8 even at that point. And yeah, on that first listen, Death of a Party, it was one of those songs where within 5 seconds I knew I loved the song, and yeah, to this day it's so much fun to listen to. The chorus in it is one of Blur's best, and just like the lead guitar snaking throughout is just really nice.
The organ in that's not a really fast Leslie, is it?
It might be. Damon Albarn plays a Hammond. Very well.
Yeah, more
could be.
than likely. With like some vibrato put on it, maybe too.
Yeah, and what's interesting is they've done a bunch of reunion shows and whatnot, and put out a new album in 2012. And they've been moderately active, just doing shows here and there, a tour here and there, whatever. But Death of a Party is actually one of the few kind of like album cuts that they've been playing out for all of these shows, which is pretty fun.
Wow, cool.
Jim, what is your least favorite song?
I'm gonna go with Essex Dogs.
Watching dogs somersault through sprinklers on tiny lawns. I remember the graffiti. Where are your children coming at you with spray cans and paint?
And the only reason is because I just feel like it's too long. There was a point in this album where I was like, all right, I think I've had enough. I think I'd like this to be over now. And then I noticed that this song was 8 minutes long, and I was like, Jesus Christ. And it's not to say that I didn't like it. Like, I really actually didn't dislike. Wait, did I double negative there? There was no song that I did not like on this album. But I felt like this one was kind of unnecessary, and the album could have lived without it. Still cool though.
Yeah, I thought it was a cool track too. Yeah, some cool textures happening in that one. But yeah, I agree. It was a bit on the long side. But
Yeah.
I guess where it was at the end, you kind of have that allowance.
Yeah, I like self-indulgent shit like that, but it did go on a little too long.
I also enjoy extremely long songs, but this one didn't grab me at first listen, and I'm curious if I like sink deeper into it, if there's more there.
There's actually some really cool shit happening that I'll get to later in that track.
Patrick, least favorite.
My least favorite was pretty simple. On Your Own. The guitar stuff was pretty cool. I kind of liked where it's like getting processed and like there's some like weird sort of like ring mod or something that they put it through. But I just found the vocal approach to be like kind of cloying and sing-songy and just and I just didn't care about what they had to say in that song. Wasn't my favorite.
You are not on your own.
No, I'm not.
You have all of us, Patrick. We will never leave you alone.
I'm on my own.
That's right. You're not on your own, though.
You're on our own.
We're all on our own.
You chose on your own, referring
on
to
your
me.
own.
The correct answer is on my own, referring to you.
That's number wang.
Degan, what was your least favorite?
You know, just like it was very hard to choose a favorite on this one. I also found it hard to choose an unfavorite. There were a few that I was kind of like uninterested in, or just like kind of like didn't hit any of the buttons. I'm gonna go with Theme from Retro. Just kind of like, this felt to me like just the definition of filler. Just felt like a non-moment. It was like it was style. It was just like a stylistic. It was like a genre exploration that didn't. I don't think Blur proved that they did anything with it really of interest.
Yeah, no, that's fair. For me, I'm gonna go with Moving On. What Jim was saying, I feel like the album kind of hits its point where it starts to overstay its welcome a little bit, and Moving On I don't think is a strong enough song to kind of be included. I think it pulls actually a little bit from the melodies of On Your Own and Countryside Ballad Man a little bit, and for that reason it's just, I feel like this could have been left off and could have been a good B-side, but didn't need to be on the album.
Yeah, you know, I actually had similar feelings about that one. And it's weird because I liked that song more than On Your Own, but I think On Your Own served a purpose on the album like better than Moving On did. I'm right there with you. I think this would have made it a super strong B-side, but at that point, I kind of wanted the album to be finished.
Yeah, honestly, if it skipped that song, this album might get a higher rating for me. Jim, MVP moment.
I am going to go with the outro in Strange News from Another Star.
Another star.
changed that direction and kind of slammed in there and kind of got a little disjointed and kind of grainy. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was an alternate for my MVP too.
That you guys didn't just feel like it was just like Space Oddity Light. I mean, it's good and all. It's fine. I'm just like, but Space Oddity already exists.
I mean, I liked the. I did write this. This song was Bowie-ish, and I did like the synth thing that was going on there. I don't know what. You guys know I'm synth stupid, so maybe you can enlighten me as what that was.
Well, gosh, Patrick. Yeah. I mean, gosh, Jim. If you just like turn up the release knob on your mind and reduce the attack on your prejudgments about synths, and then Chris, you take this one.
And then you let someone fiddle your organ, you'll be all set.
Portamento.
Oh, man.
Portamento.
Portamento.
Yeah, it definitely had that Bowie-ishness to me, but I think it did enough of its own thing, and plus it made Star Wars references, and to my knowledge, Bowie never did that.
That is dope, actually. Yeah, we need more songs that reference the Death Star in particular. Yes. I was actually reading through the lyrics of the album while we were listening, and I was initially psyched to see that this was both Space Oddity and a Star Wars homage, and then kind of got disappointed when it turned back into heroin, but I was like, I can live with that. I mean...
Well, Damon Albarn at this point in time was dating Justine Frischman from Elastica, and she's like at the point was like a very well-known like junkie. So Albarn was doing a bunch of heroin with her, which is where like Beetlebum and stuff like that comes from.
Yeah.
Patrick, MVP.
So my MVP moment was in Essex Dogs, and it's actually going to be that sample at the intro that is put through like some analog speed up effect to make it change pitch.
Yeah,
because you can tell that the rhythm speeds up when the pitch is when he raises the pitch, but then like I don't know, it was a weird effect that kind of like went against what the beat was doing, and to me it kind of worked.
What I think it was is I think it was a guitar playing the same note at the same rhythm over and over and over, and they just have adjusted the speed of the tape just to kind of make it work.
Yeah, it was an interesting effect that I really hadn't. I don't think I've really heard before.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I think there's a song on the newest My Bloody Valentine that does that towards the end of the album. Now Jim has the X-Files title card, The Truth Is Out There, behind him. I was wondering what Jim was looking at the whole time, and he's just fucking sitting there on Google image search.
I kind of like having multiple monitors while we do this podcast. I think it's great.
Degan, what was your MVP moment?
This was also a tough shake. I was almost like, the slide solo in the middle of You're So Great is amazing. The entrance of that is amazing. But for a completely different flavor, I'm going to go with the dueling orchestra and like George Harrison style solos in Look Inside America.
Oh yeah, those are dope.
Yeah, just really awesome. Really just fun textures, really articulate solo work, like, which is, again, it's like a big departure from the rest of the record, but like he puts that on super well.
Yeah.
And they did amazing things on that song as well.
Yeah, agreed. For myself, I'm actually going to go with what you just said, the slide guitar in You're So Great. Such a fun little slide guitar riff. Like, slide to me is something that has its place, and 90% of the time it's used, it is not the place. Here, I think it is very well warranted, very well executed, and the guitar tone is awesome. It's just like so like on the cusp of overdriving, and yeah, it just sounds great.
Yeah, amazing solo.
Yeah. All right, Jim. Comparable album.
I'm going to go with 2005's Güero by Beck. I kind of got a little bit of a kind of the same vibe as far as the. I don't know. I feel like in Güero, that album is like an American Britpop album, if that makes any sense.
I can see that. I was catching a lot of Beck vibes on this album, especially on track 3.
Yeah, the country sad ballad, man. That was the moment I was kind of like, oh, this reminds me of like fucking Farewell Ride on Güero, that kind of like southern twangy kind of song. So yeah.
Now, see, it's funny because I was almost thinking of Odelay as well in this record.
I always heard Pavement in that song before Beck. But,
oh yeah, I could see that too.
Yeah, because I think that Pavement was a huge influence on this album. Patrick, comparable album.
This one was pretty simple for me. I'm gonna go with Brian.
Hi, Gina.
Oh.
Hi, Gina.
Gina's here with flowers.
Gina brought you flowers. Bye, Gina.
Bye.
We can edit this out later.
Goodbye, flowers.
I'm not a coward.
So my comparable album is actually going to be Brian Eno's second record, Taking Tiger Mountain by Strategy. And the reason I'm going with that one is because it was definitely building on that sort of like art pop, like vaguely slackery vibe that he was doing on the first record, but with like more stuff. There's like some more kind of like punky tracks and some shit that like you're starting to put in more beeps and boops. I was hearing a lot of his vocal style all over this album too, and obviously the MOR track is like super heavily influenced by Eno's work. So yeah, that was my choice.
Nice.
Degan, how's about you?
I mean, any late 70s Bowie would be an awesome choice. I'm actually going to go, just because of the, like, extreme, like, Pavement colors on this one, I'm going to go Wowie Zowie, third Pavement LP.
Very interesting.
It's got that kind of sprawl that this album has, where this album isn't quite as sprawling, but it's got some sprawl. It's very eclectic. Wowie Zowie is, like, the most eclectic Pavement album. They just, like, reach into all their different pockets. And they spend some time doing their fillery thing, which is kind of like the joy of the record. It's like, you have to be in that mood to be like, the hits are going to come, but we're also going to spend a lot of time just fucking around. And just doing California Slacker and not giving any fucks about what you think about it. And these kind of like breakneck changes from just like vibe to like hardcore punk to, referencing different, throwback styles, like, feels more Wowie Zowie. I mean, Blur does it with more commitment. Pavement are more like singularly Pavement, so when they do these shifts of genre, they're not as obvious. Mm-hmm. While Blur feels a lot more studied, but yeah.
Well, that's funny because my comparable album was going to be Crooked Rain, the Pavement album that immediately preceded Wowie Zowie. I think that Crooked Rain to me had just like a little bit more snark to it, which I think that the Blur self-titled has a little bit of snark that's kind of hidden here and there. It's never as overt as like Range Life or something like that. But yeah, I think it's drawing from the same well for sure.
Yeah.
One of my favorite, I don't know a ton of Pavement, but one of my favorite lyrics of theirs that I remember hearing was like, how does Geddy Lee sing so high? I wonder if he talks like a regular guy. And then, like, the band just stops and it's like, oh yeah, I've heard him. He does.
Yeah.
And then, like, the band just starts back up.
Oh, and then Malcolmus replies, then you're my fact-checking cuz.
Oh, he does say that.
Yeah.
Okay, you're right.
What about the voice of Geddy Lee? How does he sing so high? I wonder if he speaks like an ordinary guy.
He does.
Then you're my fact-checking cuz.
Good work.
You've heard Range Life before, right?
By who's that by?
Pavement.
Probably.
It's the one that has the lyrics, out on tour with the Smashing Pumpkins. Nature kids, they don't have no function. I don't understand what they mean, and I could really give a fuck.
Fuck you, Billy Corgan.
The Stone Temple Pilots, they're elegant bachelors. They're foxy to me. Are they foxy to you?
Yeah, they're on the right side of history.
Jim, what would you assign as a rating to this album if we're talking from a scale of 1 to 10? Integers only, no pitchfork bullshit.
I'm gonna give it 8 gallons of milk.
8 gallons of milk. It's a lot of milk.
Wow. 8 out of 10.
No, this is the first time I've heard this other than song 2, and I really liked it. It's definitely
awesome.
This is probably the first album that Christopher's ever shown us that I'm actually going to go and listen to again. No, that's not true. I think there are a couple other ones.
If you liked this, I would definitely recommend checking out 13, because it's basically this, but weirder.
13th Step by Perfect Circle. Love that album.
Yes, yeah, that's Blur's 2002 album.
Yep.
Patrick.
I'm going to give it a very strong 7. And again, like Jim, I could see this going up in rating with multiple listens. I was very pleasantly surprised because I'm not normally a Britpop guy. And I think I kind of have to... I kind of have to eat my words a bit there because Britpop really is probably more diverse than I'm giving credit for. And I think my issues really lie with Oasis.
Well, that'll be interesting this afternoon because we're doing another episode and we are doing Oasis.
Stay tuned.
I didn't plan for it to be like a Britpop battle day, but...
I think that there is a lot of great, like, eclectic stuff happening on this album. I think I need to give it more listens because there were some moments where it wasn't quite as engaging. But yeah, there was a lot of stuff, a lot of things that I could probably like see myself pulling influence from. A lot of great guitar tones, and the only other Blur album I had heard all the way through was Park Life. And I didn't really enjoy that album so much. And I felt like this one just had a little bit more muscle to it. And just muscle and focus and just like better production, I guess.
Yeah.
So I just, all in all, just like enjoyed this very much. I think if you were to cut a couple tracks off of here, it might have even gone up to an 8 too. But,
nice.
That's my rating.
Deeks.
Yeah, what those guys said. Very torn between a 7 and 8. I'm gonna go with a 7. Really enjoyed it. It was just like my history with Blur is like really I'm just familiar with the album 13.
Yep.
And just comparing these two, I felt like this one is great. It's really fun. It's really accessible. I like the way that they're playing together. I love the tones. I have to like kind of like dock a point because they're with the amount of just kind of like genre bouncing. It did feel a little bit disingenuous at times, or just like it was kind of like, okay, we'll play on this style, like in a way that like made me feel slightly less engaged, like being reminded of Bowie or reminded of Space Oddity in a different track or other Bowie.
Or it felt like there was too much thought put into the fact that it was a different genre or something.
That's exactly what I'm getting at. Yeah, it was like
it's actual forced diversity.
Yes, I enjoyed their explorations, and they were cool explorations, but they felt like explorations sometimes and not actually integrated into the sound of Blur fully. Whereas my experience of 13, while 13 has a lot of different genre tones that it takes on. They play around a lot, but it does feel a little bit more integrated. Even if everything on 13 isn't coherent, even if it isn't stylistically coherent, it feels more integrated. So, as for that reason, 7 instead of 8. But pretty awesome record.
Yeah, I could see that. This is the last Blur album where they include a punk song for the hell of it, with Chinese Bombs. Yeah, because that was like a weird tradition they had, where every album would just have like one overt punk song, and then the rest would be Britpop.
The titles of the songs on this album were also like very Eno-y for some reason.
Yeah,
Chinese Bombs just sounds like a fucking Eno song to me.
Yeah.
That was actually Chinese Bombs is going to be my second contender for least favorite.
Well, yeah, because you don't like punk.
Yeah, it wasn't even that. It was just I don't know. It was a little too noisy, I guess. I don't know.
Some of us are trying to sleep here.
Yeah.
I mean, I liked it. I thought it was like, in a sense, it's like it. Just to throw what I said earlier a little bit on its face, like it was one of their more believable diversions, like of like putting on the hardcore, vibe.
Yeah. For me, I really like Blur, and while I enjoy Park Life, and to a lesser extent, The Great Escape, for me, this is where Blur starts becoming Blur. After this, I think they become infinitely more interesting and a significantly better band. I think that this is a solid album, and they only make solid albums after this. Even Think Tank, which Graham Coxon was only kind of barely there for. I think he only played on one song. Even that's a great, I think is a great album. It does its own thing. And yeah, so for me, this is a 9. It's Blur figuring out that, oh, hey, we don't have to just write observational lyrics about society and have songs that sound like the Kinks. Like, this is where they start realizing that they can actually do something cool. So yeah, gets a 9 for me. If they had trimmed off Moving On, I could have possibly given this a 10, but I need to differentiate it from 13 for me, which is obviously a 10. So that gives us a cumulative rating of 7.75. It's a C+.
Fair.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it was enjoyable. This was my first time listening to the whole thing, and I look forward to checking it out again and changing my rating over and over again.
Yeah, it's an album that I forget exists every now and then, because not to beat 13 to death, but whenever I go to listen to a Blur album, that's usually what I pick. So I'm glad that I had to pick this by not owning 13 on vinyl, because it forced me to give this album another listen, and it's a great album. I think it deserves more listens in general.
What did you give it again?
Give it a 9.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to pee real quick.
Hey, that's okay. Nature's a call that we can't put on hold.
That's very true.
Although
I should just keep a pee bucket here.
You actually can hold it a little bit.
I gave Patrick's pee an 8.
It was
well timed, very satisfying.
But why not a 10?
Well, there was this part where it kind of sputters out at the end, where it's you're taking a long time to kind of finish the pee, and it just felt like, when you're zipping back up, there was kind of some dribble, and I don't know, it just seemed like there were some things that could be tightened up, there's some things that could be tightened up, in terms of the execution, and also just remembering to shut the door.
Okay. Jim, does Emily have any strong feelings on Pete Talk? Because I know she doesn't like it when we talk about shit, which we do way too often.
I don't think she likes it when we talk about any bodily function.
Okay. Because I want to talk about pee for a second. And this is real talk right here.
Real talk.
Awesome.
You know what drives me
This
crazy?
is gonna be a good segue into my next thing. So go ahead.
Oh, perfect. You know what drives me absolutely crazy? When people say that men can't aim. And this is, I promise, I'm not going into like fucking Tim Allen observational comedy here. What drives me crazy about it is that it has nothing to do with aim. It's that fucking beginning of the flow, where it's like, normally you have a healthy flow that can go somewhere, but the beginning of the flow, it doesn't want to go anywhere. It just drops.
Well, that's just like playing tambourine, right? Like, everyone can shake a tambourine, but how do you begin the shake?
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I pee sitting down.
Yeah. No, that's a very good point.
don't, but-
Because I like when I'm recording tambourine, I almost always like, I run a few bars and then I chop off those first few bars and like, keep the, once I'm actually in the groove, I keep those ones. So when I'm peeing,
He brings his tambourine with him, and he cuts off the beginning of
the penis.
The pee.
Yeah.
yeah.
If you just remove the end of the beginning of the penis, the rest is going to flow naturally.
Yeah, that is really what's holding things up here.
Emily is going to love this episode.
Yeah, it's like the it's like the first pancake of the batch. It's never going to come out good.
Yeah.
The tip of the penis is like the pancake.
Yolks,
Yeah. Jim, what do you got?
So I got a great email last night. Let me read it to you.
This better be pee related.
The truth is out there.
It involves organs. So I got an email last night, obviously a spam email. Transfer 1,000 in Bitcoin to the beneath address, and then it goes on to spell out the Bitcoin address and say copy and paste it. And then it goes on to say, you may be thinking, why the hell would I do that? And then it says,
no, so far I'm on board.
well, put together yourself due to the fact that I'm going to tremble your world right now. I had an unsafe malware infect your laptop and also record movie of you using your webcam while you looked at adult sites. Here is one of your passcodes. And then it goes on to show one of the passwords that I used like fucking 25 years ago. Nevertheless, don't believe me? Respond with 8 and I'll randomly share your video with the people you are friends with. Yes, we have access to your address book as well. Currently, what I do not want to get to this whole fadeaway thing. I don't know what the fuck that means. Well, I have already talked about the actual offer.
This is very
in the
professional
beginning.
language right here.
Yeah, I've already talked about the actual offer in the beginning of the email. If you do not fulfill it within 24 hours, I will most certainly make your life a nightmare by delivering that video clip to everyone you know. Your time frame begins now.
Your time frame begins.
This email will self-destruct in 5.
What I really
I kind of want to respond to them with just a picture of a big black dick and just go to town.
well, no, respond with the dick pic, but also 8, because that's what they said, right?
Yeah. If I respond 8, they're gonna put videos of me naked up on my Facebook. Apparently,
I love
There'll be like jib jab videos or something with like your face superimposed.
I love hearing all of that text that you just read, and knowing that it was written by like this really hairy Eastern European guy who smells of turnips.
Oh yeah.
100%.
I mean, it's just it's just disappointing. I mean, the lack of professionalism. I mean, they couldn't have hired one person who was good at English to write these emails. Like, how much would it have cost? How much would it have cost?
Yeah, but the thing is, I mean, these guys target the elderly, and the elderly don't know better than I actually.
The dark web.
How would the elderly
I
get
have a friend-
Bitcoin?
Yeah, that's my question.
Well, I mean, not necessarily this scam specifically, but somebody who's not like tech savvy is gonna freak the fuck out.
Oh, sure.
If they see this. But like a friend of mine said his grandfather is 90, and apparently there's a new scam now where they'll call you and they'll listen to your voice. So you sit there and go like, hello, hello, and they figure out how to fucking mimic your voice. and then they'll call somebody you know and pretend to be you and be like, "Hey, I'm in jail. I need you to wire me like 10 grand." And
oh my god, that's fucking crazy.
Yeah,
that's
my friend's
nuts.
grandfather fucking paid it. So
No.
it's
Jesus.
like, yeah.
Oh no.
And that's why
Jesus
I don't
Christ.
fucking answer the phone even if I know who's calling me.
Yeah.
Scam calls are getting fucking scary these days. Like I feel like they used to be a lot more benign. Like nowadays, it's like we have your sister like locked in a basement right now.
Yeah, it's like taking
wire
shit.
us $10,000.
Wire us a video of you masturbating to porn, or we will kill your sister.
Like back
Please
in the
reply
90s,
by
it was
hitting
just like,
8.
you know, hey, do you want to buy, like, you know, tell us more about your cable service or something like that. But nowadays, they're fucking like using AI to like mimic your biomimicry or some shit.
And it's mostly
My
threatening at this
favorite one
point,
is
too.
the one where they're like, you get the robotic voicemail and it's like, "This is the IRS. If you don't respond to this, you'll be taken by the local cops."
Oh, Jesus. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like the IRS using a phone and using the word cops.
Yep.
Have you
Purchase
gotten any
this
from your own
knockoff Viagra, or we will throw your mother to these crocodiles.
Have you gotten any from yourself? Like a number that pops up when you get a call, it pops up as your number and your name.
Yep.
No,
No.
I haven't
I've
gotten
seen
that
that
one.
one.
The first time I saw that, I was genuinely like, it took me a few minutes to parse what the fuck was going on.
All right,
You
so the
thought like
moral
there was
of
a
this
version
episode
of you
is,
from the future calling yourself to warn you.
the moral of this episode is: don't trust your email, don't trust your phone, don't trust it. Just don't trust anything. But the truth is out there.
Yeah, I was gonna say you should change your backgrounds to that time it said
To trust no one.
one. Yeah.
It literally surprises me when people pick up the phone sometimes. Like from a number that they don't recognize. You know?
No, I always let it go to voicemail if I don't know
Yeah,
it.
same.
Yeah, I actually have it set on my phone so that it won't even, it'll just go right to voicemail if I don't know the number. So it's, fuck that.
Yeah. So yeah, that was fun. I spent my last night cooking dinner and looking at this email going, what clever thing can I respond with? But it's just like, I don't want to get into like, I don't know if I respond to this thing, if it's going to fucking let them know that this email's active and then they're going to start sending me fucking shit every day. And I'm
So
just like,
here's what you do. Make a burner email and respond from that. They're not going
That's
to...
a good idea.
Yeah, they're not going to worry about where it's coming from. If they get a response, they're going to try to keep it going.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
true.
like send it to like forward it to the fucking burner email or
Yeah,
something.
and then tell them that this is your new work email, so all correspondence has to go through here.
I would just not even have your email attached to it at all.
Jim at bigblackdick.com.
I wouldn't even use your email at all. Just like respond directly from the burner account, copy and paste it, everything you need to, and then just write the email as you need to. That's there's a website out there of a dude who would routinely respond to the Nigerian 419 scams.
Yeah, I love that guy.
Classic.
He's so good.
Yes,
He's so
it's
good.
so good. Like he would get them to do various like ridiculous things in order to get money. Like he would basically dangle a carrot and say like he was interested in whatever they were offering, and he goes through this whole routine. At one point, I think like his holy grail was he got a Nigerian scammer and a friend to shoot a shot-for-shot remake of the Monty Python parrot sketch. And send it to him. Yeah,
that actually. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say. Well, what he does is like he'll be like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I don't have time to respond to your email right now because I'm in the middle of working on my filmmaking scholarship, which has an award of $100,000." So he takes it from there and just brings it to the next logical place.
Oh my god. Is this the same guy who he has the one where he insists that they need to communicate in code? So he has them replace like the word bank with like penguin and like funds with like magic beans, and then transfer with like hoop skirt, and he like has the scammers like writing whole emails of just like nonsense phrases.
Not
Probably
fucking
is,
around.
yeah.
You better put those eggs inside the penguin.
Yeah, and he'd set up you can get a free online voicemail account as long as you use it. I think once every 3 weeks or something, it'll just stay active. So he'd have them like calling this voicemail and like leaving him messages and shit. It's great.
I got a text a few years ago from a weird number. The text that came up just said 2 or 3. And
Text 2 or 3 if Patrick got a weird text message from.
I mean, I've fucked around enough to know that is probably referring to like balloons of heroin. So it's like I just like responded to it. Be like, I just said 2, and he said, okay, like meet me at this address, and I had him go to like this like library or something like that, and God knows where the hell he was. But you know the last track on Woof, Needle on the Southern Artery, there's like a voicemail that's sampled on that song. It's from that dude being like, yeah, I'm here at the library. It looks like it's closed. I'm just going to hang out here a few minutes, but yeah, it looks like it's closed or something. And then like, he texts me like, yo, you coming? And I text him, yep, got it, man, thank you. And he's like, what are you talking about? It's like, yeah, I got the shit, thanks. See you next time. He's like, what are you fucking talking about? It's like, I got the fucking circus animals, like you said, like we were talking about. He's like, what the fuck? Just block the number from there.
I think my favorite burn, kind of in that vein, is this guy had posted something on like Craigslist or whatever, and you know he was. You know, some guy tried to like lowball him like really bad, and he was like, "Yeah, all right." And he goes, he's like, "Yeah, meet me at this address." And the guy shows up, and he's like, "I'm here." He's like, he's like, "Oh, you're there? You're outside?" He's like, "Yeah, is it the comedy club?" And he's like, "Yeah, go up on stage and tell your fucking jokes to somebody else."
Very good. Very good.
I like wasting random people's time too. Like I used to work at a job.
You're gonna waste my time. I'm gonna waste your time.
Yeah, exactly. I used to work at a job where we contracted for AT&T, and we used to like write tutorials for all their phones. And in order to do this, we needed to have a bunch of SIM cards that they provided us. So we'd like put these into the phones to like make them work and whatever. So one of my old coworkers, on his first day, he was like sitting there like on his phone a lot. Like to the point where it didn't look like he was actually doing work. So I walked over and I'm like, "Hey, how's it going? Like, do you need any help with anything?" He's like, "No, I'm just fucking with this woman who texted me." I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Oh yeah, she didn't know her friend's number changed, so I'm sending her all across her town right now." So apparently the woman called and said, "Hey, where are you?" For the first one, and he's like, "I'm home. Why?" And she's like, "Well, weren't you supposed to meet me?" And he's like, "Oh shit, I forgot. Can you pick me up?" So he'd have this woman like driving all across her town with various text messages.
Could you actually meet me at the Victory Supermarket, drive me to the Dunkin' Donuts Arena in Providence?
I actually, for some reason, I am a magnet for middle-aged, like, conservative people who must have a middle-aged conservative friend named Jim Schultz, because I keep getting messages on my Facebook page of all of these fucking, like... I told you guys about the one woman who messaged me saying that, talking about Crohn's disease.
No.
Crohn's disease.
She was like, "Hey, have you talked to Marcy? I heard she's got Crohn's disease." And I was like, "Oh, I could."
Crohn's disease.
And then I'll get ones that's
colon.
And then I'll get ones that are like, "Jim, how you been? I haven't talked to you in so long. Are you still with so and so?" And I have too much of a guilty conscience. I should just start fucking with these people.
The body push face.
Are these in your message requests or something on
no,
Facebook
so this
Messenger?
So no, I have a Facebook page that's just dedicated to like my drum stuff that I never use, but I get messages. So I got one from another Jim Schultz, who just sent me a meme that says, "Whoever said one person can't change the world never ate an undercooked bat." And I was like, all right, that's going to be a middle-aged, like, fucking conservative.
Oh, that's a total boomer fucking meme right there.
Yeah.
Wow.
Let's see what else. I got Ty Larson here sending me pictures of butts. Let's see. David Morash sent me... Oh, I don't think I watched this one. This guy sent me a video.
David Koresh.
What's this? I'm scared. What's he doing? Okay. He's
More butts.
This woman's taking his shirt off. He's wearing a Darth Vader shirt. He's wearing a Darth. All right. So now he's doing the trick where you put your elbows out of your sleeves to make you look like you're an amputee.
Okay.
This the way you're describing it sounds like alternate lyrics to Mr. Brightside.
Oh no! And then she pantses him and his dick hangs out. No, I'm glad I never watched that one.
Well, I mean, now you have.
Now you have.
Yeah.
Now you're cursed.
Jim, there's something I have to tell you.
What?
I've been filming you watching these videos of guys getting pants and having their dicks hanging out. If you don't want me to publish, if you don't want me to publish this podcast,
I gotta send you 50 gallons of milk.
you need to send me 50,000 BitGallons of milk.
BitGallons. Oh man.
Eye milk.
Oh, that's a
capital
great
M.
word. That's a great one. Let's see. Can I find the?
Digital milk.
Jim, if you send me any hate cheese, you will rue the day.
Is that like head cheese?
Oh, so I did fuck with this woman a little bit. This is the Chrome's woman. This is Nikki Marie
Jesus.
Bible. I forget where she was from. I think I looked at her.
Say Fievel?
Bible.
Like Fievel goes west?
Bible.
Bible?
B-I-B-L-E. Yeah.
Wait, her last name was fucking Bible?
So
Goody Bible.
She starts off with, "Is Dawn okay?" and then sends me a random phone number. Just heard she has Chrome's. I do not have her number. Question mark, question mark, question mark. Do you have her number? And I said, "Poor Dawn, Chrome's is rough. I don't have her number either. Also, you have the wrong Jim." What?
Like, that just makes it sound
I'm
like
not
she
the
was...
Jim you're looking for. Okay, sorry. I said no worries. Good luck with your friend with Chrome's.
Crohn's is like a disorder that, like, you slowly... Like, it slowly kind of gets worse over the years. It's not like you just get it one day, like you catch it.
Maybe she didn't know she had it.
I heard she caught the Crohn's.
Well, Patrick, yeah, see, you're talking about Crohn's. She's talking about Crohn's disease.
Crohn's,
I don't know
completely
if you've
different,
seen,
Patrick.
Did you see?
you
Did
get
you
that
see
from Cars.
Mad Max Fury Road? So
No.
if you spray your face with the silver spray paint, you can get Crohn's disease. So
Yeah, okay. I could see that happening.
Yeah, that's what that movie was actually about. It wasn't about the cars. Yeah, because originally it was just a straight-up remake of Wacky Races, but then they started introducing the Chromes subplot. I told you guys about the woman Renee who was emailing me, right? There's a whole group of people
Okay.
from Georgia who email me.
Right.
They all got, like, the wrong person. So this woman, Renee, sent me an email. "Chris, these are the answers. Please log on to the site and take the quiz." And she gave me a URL. And then she gave me a bunch of, like, multiple choice answers.
Oh, yeah, you told us about this. Like,
No, I
I don't
didn't
feel
hear
right
about this
taking
one.
this test.
Yeah, so she provided me with the answers to the test. So I responded with, "Dearest Renee, thank you, but I will absolutely not cheat. I have disregarded the answers and will take the quiz fair and square. In Christ, Chris." And I maintained, like, a conversation with her for a very long time, basically playing the role of an idiot who didn't understand technology. And then I ended it with, "Oh my, Renee, there has been a mix-up. I am not a volunteer gardener. I thought perhaps your name was spelled differently than I remembered. I am waiting for another person named Renee, I think, to email me about a job application. I am so very truly sorry for the mix-up. You must be looking for another Christ. What a crazy coincidence. In Christ, Chris."
I love that you added so much more to the end of that like didn't need to be said. Like, what a coincidence! Wow, how could I have messed this up? Gee willikers, I really goofed this.
Yeah,
Didn't I, Renee? Didn't I just absolutely mess this up? Am I a bad person, Renee? Am I bad?
Yeah, you just need to build the world if you're gonna live in it.
Absolutely. There is something about someone who just fucking says things for the sake of just, like, putting words out in the world. That's just truly beautiful.
We all need to
me.
respect the creators of words and all that they've done for us.
Yeah, it's like my old boss, capable of speaking for 10 minutes without fucking saying anything.
I was trying to, my little brother and I have been working on the premise for this video game we've been writing for like 2 decades now. And one of the things that keeps happening is there keep being more and more parodies of like popular bands of the 90s and aughts in the game. So we recently we're conceiving of like a jam space that's within like a military base, and we're like, oh, what band would be playing there? And we're like, Three Doors Down.
Oh, absolutely.
So
that was my first thought.
First thought, right? So Three Doors Down is in this jam space, except it's the Middle Ages. And I was like, all right, so what kind of lyrics would they have? And I tried to like write like 4 lines that like are comprehensible English sentences, but also say nothing at all.
That's like any Imagine Dragons lyrics too.
Or Bush. It's like reading a book from top to bottom instead of left to right.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so I think that'll about do it for us here. Deacon, thanks for joining us. This is fun.
Yeah, my pleasure. My pleasure. Anytime.
Always a fucking hoot to have you around.
Yeah, indeed.
It's good to see you guys too.
Yeah, do you want to plug anything?
No, I've got a new album that I've finished, which I'm just trying to figure out how I'm going to release it, and stay tuned.
I'm fucking ready.
Stay tuned for that, I guess.
Awesome.
Fucking ready for your new Body English album.
Here's what you should do. You should melt it down into milk, and you should put it into an artificial cow, and the user has to squeeze the album out of the udder in order to.
Now you're talking about putting milk back into the cow.
That's Jim. He's thinking outside the milk box.
That's right.
Milk box of milk.
Oh man,
Milk
I
carton.
love referring to cows as milk boxes.
That's objectifying. That's objectifying.
Yeah, you don't want to objectify those sexy animals.
No, those sexy
They're filled with grass,
cows
too.
with those lush udders and firm flanks.
Flank steak. Big fajitas with that.
Patrick, you got anything you want to plug?
What's this? May 1st?
May
Probably
1st.
not. No, not right now.
Mayday.
There will be more stuff soon.
Jim?
No. Check out my blog, I guess. buildingahomestudio.wordpress.com. You can watch me build my studio.
And according to that email, look at adult websites.
Yeah, it's basically what I do with my time.
Guys, is this
What the fuck? It's not illegal to look at those websites.
is this where we tease the next desk recording?
Oh God, I don't know if that's a good idea.
In a land far away, there was a band called Desk.
Let's do like one of those late 90s CD advertisements. You're like, the new release from Desk. Thoughtful, thought-provoking lyrics.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say let's do one of those.
Strawberry.
Let's do one of those late '90s albums where the singer lives in LA now and the rest of the band lives in their hometown, and like they record all the
So
album
I
and
think-
send him the Pro Tools files.
Oh yeah.
So I think
like the Strokes.
I think if we do Desk 2, since we kind of built the first one around Kiss, I've actually been listening to the whole Metallica discography in the past week while building. I think Desk 2 should be a Metallica version, but it should be the shitty era of Metallica. It should be like a
Load and
fucking-
reload.
Like load, reload.
Yeah,
Dude, I
that's
can
very
crank
good.
a Say Anger riffs like nothing else. Like I could fucking do that
Yeah,
for you.
I could fart out some Newstead bass lines from the mid '90s. I could fucking do that in my sleep.
We
Yeah.
can get Todd to go, yeah!
Yeah, so also be sure to check out the other shows on the Zero Science Network, Clamshell Case Files, Little Patties, Jukebox Zeros, all sorts of other stuff. We have a new podcast too, World of Commotion, that Danielle, my wife, is on. And yeah, we've got a bunch of good stuff cooking over there. It actually... Yeah, it's going to be, this will be dropping after, but we're going to be doing a live stream of a bunch of us playing Jackpot games soon, which should be fun.
Maybe
Cool.
there'll be other ones.
Yeah, maybe we can do it make it a regular thing. All right, so Deacon, thanks again for joining us.
Thank you.
I am Christopher.
I'm Jim.
And I'm Patrick.
We'll see you in hell.
Zero Science.
Now available in podcast feeds. Don't miss your chance to join 3 friends as they unpack movies from their childhood.
I'm just gonna watch you die.
What was this film rated again?
PG.
And decide just how traumatic they were.
That is how long they're stabbing him.
I giggled through that scene because it was so uncomfortable and weird.
In Clamshell Case Files, starring the bad boy of podcasting, Quentin.
I mean, if my dog killed another dog, I would protect him by burying that body, but I would never kill the dog myself.
Girl Friday, Bridget.
I just want to apologize to Samantha Mathis that I have been maligning her breasts for decades.
And America's sweetheart, Matt.
Where a giant toy elephant is blowing snow out of its hooter nose thingy all over the building.
You're invited to share in the magic of Clamshell Case Files. Available from the Zero Science Network, wherever you download podcasts.